Hi everyone, this is Ronak from agarwalronak.com. UC automation, such an important topic. Did you know, as per Metrigy's report, 18% of global organizations have multiple UC platforms, mix of cloud, and they still have on-prem solutions. UC management and automation has become one of the key elements of managing unified communication platforms in the complete digital workplace strategy. Why is it important to do so? To bring in efficiency, to save cost, reduce errors, increase visibility in the infrastructure for better reporting and insights, enhancing end user experiences. Today, I'll be speaking to Tim Jalland from VOSS Solutions about him and discussing about UC management and automation solutions, what's his view are, and also discussing what VOSS Solutions is bringing into the market as far as UC discovery, monitoring, automation, and analytics is concerned. I hope you enjoy this interview. Thank you.
Yeah, hi, hello everybody. So my name is Tim Jalland. I'm a solution manager at VOSS, and I'm responsible for the Microsoft side of our business. And what that means is I work regularly with customers and our partners, really on solutions around Microsoft, and really helping them get the best use out of the VOSS tool set. I've been at VOSS for 7 years. I'm based in the UK. Before that, I've worked with a number of technology companies. My background's really in technology. It's mostly around networking, unified communications, voice, Microsoft Teams. So that's me.
All right, it's good to know. And what about maybe a touch upon your personal life, as you have touched on your professional life as well.
Personal life, as I say, I live in the UK, just north of London. I've got my local family here. I quite like the outdoors. I spend a bit of time keeping fit, and just a general interest in the technology and UC market. I do follow that from a bit of a personal perspective as well, if that helps.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. Actually, it helps. I mean, personal and professional are working together, so it helps to know a person from both angles, so that either professional helps you in the personal side or vice versa.
They do cross over a little bit.
Yeah.
Between
but it's good to know you. Good to know you, Tim. So, Tim, in general, like, what are because you've worked in the especially with the Microsoft ecosystem and in the UC market, what are the potential trends that you're seeing in the market today?
So if I talk mostly around the UC space, because that's where we are, where we operate. So I'll talk mostly around that. I think in that it's been quite interesting over the last 2 years or so, hasn't it? And looking forward, collaboration I think is king, and just being able to work flexibly. Whether you're inside the office or inside the organisation, or you're out at home, you're working remotely. So just that flexibility in working, and the platforms and the capabilities supporting that. So chat and conferencing, increasingly voice and telephony we see coming into that arena, just general collaboration, document sharing and all that good side. So we really see that continuing really as the foundation for organizations as they work now, and driving productivity through that. And I think from our side, a lot of organizations are investing in that arena, digitization on our front. So that relates back to automation for day-to-day changes and common things people are working on, the analytics around that. So there's an element of AI. We can talk on the podcast today around sort of AI and analytics inside that, with the data you're collecting off those UC networks. But it's all really geared to help organizations over time, really drive a superior user experience and service, keep their costs under control, keep an eye on the green and sustainability side. So that's the sort of trending and what we see going on in organizations. I think with that, they're obviously battling a little bit with old stuff. They've got older on-premise equipments and solutions integrated into that. So migration and transformation to the cloud, we also see quite a lot of work going on around that, and quite a lot of work continuing over the next 12 to 18 months as well.
Yeah, when I was speaking, there were a few keywords that you touched upon which are very important today. One is definitely automation. especially around digital workplace, user experience, creating solutions, creating sustainable solutions. I think that's even more important now. And use of AI and machine learning in whichever solution possible, especially on the software side, to bring that experience in front for the user. I think these are some of the keywords which you've spoken, which I do believe. I mean, I do agree that, especially in the UC market, they are the biggest trends to watch out for, and obviously it's already happening.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I think some of those, there's the user side, there's the organization side running these networks, and the cost side of that. There's the green and sustainability side. It's all sort of together.
Yeah, no, that's true. And again, cost and sustainability right now is not going in parallel, because if you're going for sustainable solution, these are costly solutions. But I'm sure, companies like yourselves and other companies are working towards having that equal parity in terms of not, maybe hurting the environment, but still able to give good solutions at good cost.
That's right. Yeah. Yes.
Great. So if you can, briefly describe, because you touched upon a lot of good aspects so early on. So, you briefly describe the company that you work for and maybe what kind of solutions you're offering to the market today in the UC space.
Yeah, let me do that. So I work for VOSS Solutions. We're a software company. We've been in business for over 20 years. And what we do is we really provide what we call digital workplace management software to help our partners and large enterprise customers really build, operate, and run these unified comms collaboration networks effectively. We're global. We operate in all regions. What we aim to do is provide these organizations really with a single pane, as we call it, to look into their UC networks, across the different vendors that are in that network, and really get the best out of them. We work across the life cycle, so we touch on topics like migration and onboarding from older platforms onto new, the administration side, automation. I know we've spoken a little about, but automation, and then analytics and insights. So we try and cover the breadth of the UC life cycle. If I can give you maybe a data point, we've got around 10 million users, with various partners and customers under management on the VOSS digital management software at the moment. So that, yes, that's VOSS Solutions.
Right. I mean, the 10 million number is staggering, because you're touching the lives of these many people every day, which means you're touching the way the users are doing their work productively. Because if you're reducing time on the management side, then users don't have to worry much about, and that impacts the productivity, which in turn impacts the company they're working for. So I think that's a huge number that you have under management today.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it's a reflection of how many users there are now on collaboration networks for the day-to-day work, in organizations globally. It's quite a scalable, big number.
Right. And I do believe, I think maybe if you can touch upon, I believe VOSS has a lot of solution offerings with service providers where you get a lot of user base. Is that something that as you do with carriers?
We do. We've got sort of two sides, I suppose. We do work directly with some large enterprise organizations, but we also work extensively with service providers where they're hosting platforms and delivering services out to customers and users on those services. Historically, that has quite a base around the Cisco hosted collaboration solution, and we've got quite an install base around that. More recently, it's been around some of the more cloud platforms, so the likes of Microsoft Teams and Cisco WebEx in terms of services providers are delivering out. But yes, we do help those providers globally, broadly around automation and analytics to help them run those platforms effectively.
Yeah, it's a very good data point, because I think every organization, small, medium, large, are working with carriers in some capacity or form, and offering through a service provider just makes the offering more impressive.
Yeah, so that's right.
What are the typical challenges that, maybe some experiences or any challenges that, you can talk about which VOSS helps solve, and like what is the value proposition of the solution?
We just talk around the digital workplace and sort of running that effectively. That's ultimately where we're trying to get to. It's all around, with the words we use are automation and analytics, but it's really for speed, so you can do things quickly and efficiently, and also insight in terms of, what's going on those networks and improving those networks over time. But in terms of topic areas, we really talk around three, really. One is around discovery and migration. So getting into networks, understanding what's there, moving it to the cloud, or simulating in new units into that network. So discovery and migration. The second one is more around administration. So we include self-service in that, and automation. So that's really streamlining day-to-day processes, moves out and changes and things like that, local, regional administrators. And then the third area is all around analytics and performance management. So that we tend to talk around topics like service levels, user experience improvement, sort of in that arena. So they're the three areas where we offer solutions and the value proposition. We provide a small amount of professional services really as well, just to help customers glue all that together and get the best out of the VOSS tool set.
Right. No, I think again, the explanation around user experience management you speak about is very critical. Previously, I don't think anybody thought about measuring user experience. They were just ticking the boxes. But I think today, with your solution, you do analytics and feed that data more into digital workplace strategy, and that helps executives make the right decisions, be it products or anything else.
Yes, that's right. As I say, there's the user side on this and the experience. There's the IT team trying to run the network, so there's that side, and then there's some of the economics and sustainability. It's like a bit of a jigsaw putting that all together.
Right. So I mean that's I think in the digital workplace side, I think that's, especially on the UC side, I think that's all what you need from any solution provider. And so because you manage the Microsoft relationship. Any product innovations that you see in your solution, is AI already in some shape form already part of strategy, and how is VOSS looking to incorporate these newer innovations into the solution?
It's an interesting topic, and probably a topic in its own right, isn't it? But if I just touch on one thing here, and that is around the insight and the analytics side, and we talk about what we call the UC footprint. So we're collecting a lot of information across these networks from existing equipment, from users, from the cloud side. But it's all around activity and application uses and collaboration. It's just a lot of data. And at the same time, customers are really trying to look into that data and understand usage and adoption and things like that. They're trying to rationalize and repurpose potentially some of the facilities, some of the real estate, some of the equipment in use, some of the services they're delivering out, with a view really, trying to get down to user experience, return on investment, sustainability again. But all that information to do all that insight is in that UC fingerprint, as we call it. So we're starting to use AI. It's an interesting topic area, but we're starting to use AI to really help you mine and understand and sort of get inside that data and understand what's going on and get some actionable information out without having to become a data scientist or a technology expert. We're providing different mechanisms to dashboard and query and get that in. So a business manager, for example, might want to know, what's the service experience been like, over the last several days in this particular region or something like that. They want an easy ability to look at that data. And so that's where we see quite a lot of innovation coming through, where we see a good element of AI playing into that.
So as you spoke about analytics and insights, especially around data, I'm assuming that it's all configurable based on the customer needs or business needs, because if I don't know coding, I don't really need to code to get some data, right? I'm sure it'll be easy, customizable solution that you have.
So yes, all the data, it is a flexible platform, and we really try and gear this around business outcomes, as we call it. So we're trying to understand with a customer really what trying to find out about the UC footprint and the particular question. So it's business outcomes, but the platforms themselves are flexible. When we deploy a platform, we configure that and optimize that to the particular outcomes or business requirements with a particular customer. None of that, maybe just a point, none of that is hard coded in software development or anything like that. It all tends to be, the likes of configuration or templates and things like that. And that's a part of the deployment project for us.
Right. Yeah, it's so important to know, because a lot of these, because of so much technological changes, I believe a lot of the users and the business users are thinking that it should not be technologically difficult to use. We want the data, but it should be easy to
Simple. Yeah, quite intuitive and simple. You don't really want to be, like I say, a data scientist or a technology expert,
Right.
just to be able to understand, some questions related to your business outcomes for sure.
Right. No, it's good insights, Tim. Thank you. But in general, like even with you, because I'm sure you speak to a lot of customers on your side. If somebody is looking to measure the return on investment, because sometimes when you invest in a software solution, it should drive outcome. Otherwise, there is no point in investing in that solution. So on your side, like how do you measure the return on investment if any company wants to invest in your solution?
So the approach we go through is we'll work with the company or the customer on their business outcomes. So we'll do that through a discovery process. We'll understand what they're trying to achieve, and then we'll help them through that build up a business case. And it tends to come down to some of the topics around automation. So we're looking for specific use cases. If I talk about automation specifically, so day-to-day changes within their network, we'll be picking those out, prioritizing those, picking out the ones with best return on those, and then helping them build the business case. But when we've got a platform in with an organization, we also run an element of what we call cost analytics in there. And that's a probe we've got into their network, and we're collecting information related to usage, and it's around the cost consumer. So things like licensing, devices, capacity, time spent on day-to-day activities. We're sort of pulling that information together. And then typically we'll pull that back into dashboards and report that back against the original business requirements that we had with the customer. So we'll track that, sort of demonstrate return on investment, but we'll also look to trend that over time and improve that. So that's an element of the cost analytics that we typically work with on customers.
Right. So is that cost analytics part of the bundled solution, or would you have to buy it separately as a different license?
It depends on the level, really. We typically, at the sort of entry level, we bundle that up as a project. Working with a customer, we'll put it into their network. Aside from demonstrating return on investment in terms of the solution we're proposing, we'll also aim to streamline costs with them as well, so they can sort of release some funding to invest in, forward-looking platforms. It tends to be a module that we put inside a project, cost up and put with the customer.
Right. Yeah. I mean, part of my experience, I work with so many customers and they fail to sometimes realize the return on investment of investing in a software solution. Unless you but VOSS has that cost analytics solution, and you do a thorough exercise with the customer, which is so important, because a lot of the times I don't even know, you would not even go to a customer where there is negative return on investment, because there is no point in creating a solution, and I'm sure their operations is already running fine.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think that's also an important point to tie back into their business requirements as well. So we understand what they're trying to achieve. And that's part of my role. We'll build them a capability or a solution or proposal behind that then. And part of that is a demonstration of business benefits or realization, as we call it.
Right. No, it's such an important topic, because one of the topics when I talk to a lot of executives, they come back and says, why do I have to use so many tools to do certain things? And even today, especially enterprises, they have hundreds of tools, and half of them are not even been used. And then the customers are worried about adoption of the tools which are not giving them any value. So it's you have to tread that space between adoption of newer tools and also see if you're getting the return on investment of on the existing tools.
That's right. But part of the exercise when we're deploying, you can rationalize some of the existing tool set, and the fact you're not hopping between lots of different portals and command lines and maybe PowerShell scripts is quite a favorite. All that sort of arena with quite expensive, I suppose, technical resources. The fact you can bring all that together and automate that and present that through an intuitive, single portal really streamlines a lot of stuff and takes cost out for organizations.
Yeah, it's so important today. Oh, very good. I mean, I do believe, we have a good understanding of, what you do, but as far as VOSS is concerned, like, how do you differentiate from your competitors? Because I'm sure there would be, different software companies trying to tap the same space because, there is a huge potential there.
There is, yeah, and I always think markets without competitors are a little odd anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of VOSS, I think we're one of the few companies offering a complete life cycle of tools. So we do aim to provide a complete one house for your management tool set for your digital workplace, all the way from onboarding and migration discovery through to admin automation and the analytics side. So across there. We've got confidence in our solutions. We've got strategic partnerships, obviously through some of our heritage with Cisco and the install base around that we talked about earlier on. But we're also a key partner with Microsoft. We're what we call ESIF enabled. So what that means is they've done business with us. They've partnered with us to do work to help organizations to move Microsoft Teams. So we're a strategic partner on their side. So you should have confidence in our solution set. We do work towards business outcomes. I think we mentioned that, we're not just technology. We try and understand the customer and what the customer's trying to do and sort of orientate our solution set around that. And we're global. So we've got a global organization, a global structure, but we have got local representation in all regions, and that really helps with local customer engagement, sort of understanding business problems and things like that. So I think that's, if you ask me, how do we differentiate and set ourselves apart a little, that's the sort of main points.
Yeah.
But we have got some nice technology as well, Ronak, to help you run your UC network. So there's a bit of that in there as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, I am privy to VOSS technology. So I can definitely say that, at least in my experience, in the market, VOSS is definitely being used more than any other solution out there, all because of the advancements in so many avenues, and also you're looking to evolve your product and also keep the costs down and also make it easy, or maybe I'm trying to think of a word. It's called user-friendly software. And so I think that all definitely
help.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's a good differentiation, at least in the market, that I see.
Yeah.
No, I think, again, from a solution perspective, because I'm sure more and more it's cloud-based deployments that you will be doing. safety security is one of the biggest concern of any company, especially the bigger ones. So, be it data residency or, if companies not willing to move out of their own cloud space for any reason. So how do you, keep that intact in your solution if it's a, multi-geography deployments, and what is it that you tell your customers?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we do offer the VOSS solution in two flavors. We do offer it from the VOSS cloud, so you can consume it from there, and that's a typical just consumption model. You take that and use that as you need to. Or if for whatever reason a customer's got a requirement and they want to deploy it into their private cloud, we do deploy solutions like that as well. So we're reasonably flexible on the deployment model. In terms of sort of security and privacy and compliance and there's obviously a variety of internal mechanisms we use on our cloud service, sort of addresses the points that you highlighted. We do take all those topic areas as a priority when we're building a service and delivering it out to customers, of course. But in terms of maybe just touch a little sort of working with customers on sort of design into their private cloud. So the security part is an integral part of the design as we're building this UC system. It's not an afterthought. We include that as part of our business requirements, capturing outcomes and the like. And this, I can maybe illustrate that with a few examples. The types of topics we discuss are things like compliance checking and reporting. So that's a little on the analytics side. If you've got users in a customer connecting onto their network, they want to make sure what's connecting in is compliant.
Right.
So topics like that we address. Standardization, with some flexibility helps, in terms of what's being deployed out to users. The automation, versus a lot of manual touch points, taking human errors. Quite a lot of security breaches are human errors and something's been misconfigured. We use the automation to try and take a lot of that out. And then, sort of back to analytics again, I suppose. You have got the data there, so you can see what's going on and you can look at that and mine that. And we've started to build some nice dashboards for what I might call odd usage patterns. If you've got a lot of odd usage or a lot of calls coming into a number with zero time on them, or they're trying to get into some contact center or whatever, that's in the data really. It's a case of trying to analyze and get to that. So I hope that helps. That's just some of the topic areas we talk about when we're working with customers and deploying a solution in their private cloud.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an important topic because we talk about private cloud a lot, but customers themselves are moving to a cloud, like a public cloud solutions, be it Teams, Zoom, and then integrating that back into private cloud and maybe a hybrid solution. And I think security, especially security, privacy, and compliance has become, especially in these complicated environments, and you just want to keep the cost down and make it user friendly, and keeping that in balance with all of that is so much crucial these days.
It's an interesting balance, isn't it? And again, you'll find various platforms have certain security topics inside them, but the gaps between the platforms and trying to get a view across all the platforms, we think is important. So you've got a single holistic view as to what's on that service.
No, it's so much important, especially these days now, this topic. Okay. Now, I mean, I think we've spoken a lot about the solution, the capabilities, but if you were one of those customers, and like, how would you, as a because you work for VOSS, what advice would you give to customers who are seeking for these kind of solutions? Like, why should they come and choose VOSS?
So I think in terms of, I'll just talk maybe a little around sort of approach and, where we give advice on building out UC networks. I mean, it's quite a wide topic, so maybe try and catch a few points on here and talk a little around the approach we use. So that's really, the first piece of that really is to do what we call an audit or discovery process.
Right.
so you really understand, what's in the UC network right now and where you're starting from. A lot of organizations are transforming and moving to Teams and the cloud and the like. They're rationalizing older platforms. So just understanding the start point, we think, is a good place to start. And then it's really around defining where you're trying to get to and why. And so it's around business outcomes again and use cases and things like that. But that's probably one area we'd say start. Sort of a step along from that is we try and build options, into the proposal. So, the customer's got some deployment options, relating to things like timing and cost, sort of capability. We tend not to do any big bang migrate or cutovers and things like that. We try and phase things and reduce the risk as we're deploying into a UC network. I think the insight and the analytics is an interesting viewpoint, and just having that single pane to really understand and measure sort of where you are and what's going on. We find a lot of organizations, as they're doing these transformation programs to put voice into Teams recently, for example, they're on quite a long project, and they get midway, and they've got a set of users on the existing system and a set of users on the new system, and they've not really got a window to understand quite what's where, and everything gets a bit disjointed, and that tends to stall projects off. So having good insight reporting and analytics. And then I think the final thing that maybe comes to mind is just a good level of automation, and we use that to remove stagnation, as we call it, where projects have got stuff or things aren't happening. And that might be due to lack of resources, or there's just a lot of data to lift and transform, or there's a cost budget issue, or these things run a long while, so maybe it's just fatigue or delays on a migration project or something like that, or risk management. So we try and put automation in the middle of that, really to accelerate that process and take the errors out. So that's that in terms of getting into a UC network and taking it to the cloud and just generally improving it over time. They're the sort of things we have in our mind when we're going about that.
Right. Now, if I may summarize it, because these are so important points that you spoke about, which usually customers don't realize. But if it's an organization, and if first of all, especially the enterprises, they don't even know what they have in the UC side. They are globally, and half of the inventory is not even discovered. I think a lot of the inventory, they don't even know the usage of it. So I think discovering, what you said, using VOSS, and then obviously monitoring their heterogeneous environments, because some of these customers have all kinds of UC platforms inbuilt.
That's right. Yes. So just having a window into that to really see what's going on. Really crucial.
And then obviously, if you're able to discover and monitor, then why not automate? Because by discovering, you've almost identified what kind of use cases you want, and most of them would already be automatable out of the box using VOSS.
That's right.
Right, and then obviously migration is the big area that's there today. Most customers are already moving to cloud, and obviously will move to cloud in the next 2, 3, 5, 4, 5 years. So using VOSS migrate would again ease the migration and reduce the errors, human errors.
We do some interesting gap analysis on that migration. So once we've done the discovery and we understand what's deployed currently, and then we're trying to move that to a cloud platform, let's say Microsoft Teams, we can do that gap analysis to pick out the, where there might be some issues or special attention needed to transform and move a service onto the cloud. So that all helps with pre-planning and risk reduction, and ultimately it means you get through that project quicker.
Right. And also I would think that license optimization or that cost module will also come in here, because especially moving to cloud platforms now, and most users are okay with using a soft phone, so you don't need a hard phone, or maybe you don't even need a license for that user because they're okay calling internally. So you may end up saving some license cost there.
That's right. I mean, understanding what users are deployed, and we find a lot of what we call old configuration on PBX systems. So a lot of users on there or devices on there that are no longer in use. We call them ghost devices. So understanding what's deployed and if it's in use or not, and then what's really required when we migrate it. We tend to do a lot of streamlining through that with the usage analysis.
Right. No, it's so great insights, Tim, today. So I think we spoke about, I mean, especially you on the VOSS side spoke about unified communications and digital workplace. But are you also looking, or are you already doing contact center solutions as well in VOSS, or monitoring, or?
We do. It tends to be a little bit more custom on the contact center side. In terms of specific to each customer as we come across that. But we do automation in parts of contact center for regular changes. So, for example, onboarding and offboarding agents and things like that. That sort of topic area. And we also do a level of analytics around, again, usage and call flows and things like that.
Right. No, it's that. I mean, I would think VOSS has, one-stop shop or complete solution for entire digital workplace as well as contact center because of the capability that you have today.
Interestingly, I think there's a good blend of the UC side and the CC or contact side starting to come together.
Yeah.
Or have been coming together over time. So I can see that more becoming a single space over time, as traditionally it tends to be quite separate.
Yeah, no, that's so important, and that's why I think this is, I would think, one of the differentiators that VOSS has, because not every automation company who is doing UC automation is capable to do contact center automation or do something with the contact center, which you do today. Great. I mean, I hope I didn't bore you with so many questions, but any. Sorry.
It's a good, good. It's an interesting conversation, and I find it a really interesting topic area. So yeah, interested to talk to you about it.
And any case study that you may have that you want to share that can, just amplify what you said throughout this podcast.
I've got a couple in mind actually. Maybe I'll just do both of them briefly. But one of them was a little around that cost analytics. So let's start there first. So this was an organization with quite a lot of regional offices and the like, and it sort of configured for office work with number ranges and capacity in lines and things like that. So around the voice and telephony side. So that was deployed out there. They were looking to do essentially an audit on what they'd got, but also with a mind to streamlining cost a little bit, again, to release funding. They were coming to the end of some telecom contracts.
Okay.
So they were looking to get information to help them renegotiate those contracts a little bit. So we put the cost analytics module in there. We ran a project for a period of time. We produced dashboarding and the like, and that really helped them understand what was deployed in terms of number ranges and locations and things like that, usage around all that, and really what was required going forward. And that was quite a significant saving. We were saving them around 75k per month so that was very significant. So that was a little around the cost analytics side, just to illustrate it's not very disruptive, can drive quite sizable savings. The other one was, just mention it briefly, was an organization. They got a on-premise Cisco platform that they were looking to keep for a period of time. And but they were also partly moving some of their population up to Microsoft Teams, but they wanted the flexibility to be able to host users depending on their role or persona on a particular platform. And if users moved roles, have the option to move them between platforms quite easily. So we put this was automation. We put VOSS Automate in there with a level of self-service. And it really streamlined all that day-to-day moves, adds and changes. So as part of the onboarding process, they could pick what particular persona a user would have, and we'd configure it onto the right platform. And then at a later date, if it needed moving, they could change the persona. We'd automatically move it to the other platform or back again. So that was just a good demonstration of really an organization getting the best out of two platforms and using VOSS as the single pane in the automation to help them manage that on a day-to-day basis.
Right. No, it's sometimes I feel this the question on case study is so important because a lot of the times you have good data points, but customers still think that why to even choose a solution, but they don't realize they are, losing out on a potential opportunity there to save cost in some way or the other by investing in a software solution like VOSS.
Yeah, I think that's right, isn't it? And again, it's that sort of dynamic between the user experience and the cost and the service, running the service side, trying to keep that balanced.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's so crucial. And I think the topic around discovery, monitor, automation, and analytics is so important these days.
Yeah.
That's, you can't just ignore it at all.
No, that's right.
Right. Great. I mean, I think I would just ask you one more question, but it's been great insights on, what, you're up to, and obviously as a solution and the challenges that VOSS is trying to solve in the market. But it's because it's so hectic and so, challenging job, because you're working with enterprises and also developing your own solution. Like, how do you manage your work-life balance? Like, what is it that keeps you motivated?
So that I'm not sure there's a magic recipe. To be honest, between the two. I mean, I think generally I always tell people to, if you just keep things in context and balanced a little bit, keep an eye on both sides. They do tend to overlap a little bit. Personally, I always try to make a bit of time for personal things.
Right.
And personal things. I've got some I quite like outside, walking and getting outside a little bit. I've got the family. I try and keep fit a little bit, so I try and keep a bit of a balance in that every day. It's a little bit challenging because we support a global team, and it's a little bit all hours. But yeah, just trying to keep a bit of a balance, I always say, is a good start.
Yeah, I mean, especially after COVID, things have changed. I'm sure. Do you work from home or you go to office as well sometimes?
A little bit of both. Mostly work from home, but I'm down in our Reading office. I try and get down there 1 or 2 days a week just to see the team down there. So it's a little bit of a balance on that.
Right. I mean, I am happy that you did not ask me this question, because every day I'm frustrated at home with 2 kids.
So my office is on the top of the house, so it tends to be quiet up here. So I have a bit of peace and quiet to get on with a few things.
Right. Great. I mean, Tim, I would, really appreciate you taking out time and, explaining what you do, a bit on your personal side also, about VOSS and what VOSS is bringing to the market. And, I really appreciate, and, thank you for giving me this time. And at least I'm hoping that at least this podcast, people will realize that, we are just not stuck with that basic UC mindset now. Things have evolved, and that's where VOSS is bringing its value.
No, I must say I enjoyed the discussion today, Ronak. It's a really interesting topic area, the UC space at the moment, and the sort of digital management around that, sort of where that's taking us going forward. So yeah, good questions, and really enjoyed the conversation. I hope your viewers get some good information out of it.
Yeah, no, of course, and I'm sure I would try and maybe share your LinkedIn profile or some way, if anybody has any questions on VOSS and so on. I think they can reach out, and that way, at least that the communication should flow. The idea behind this podcast was to bring out and talk about the solutions and bring that conversation out in the public, so that people start looking at it. And because I've seen still, if not customers, but the people in this UC space are still with that old mindset. And I think it's important to bring out these kind of discussions and for them to make a change.
Yeah, I think so. If anybody would like any follow-up information, they do share my LinkedIn profile. They can connect to me through that route, or you can obviously get in contact with VOSS Solutions through our website. That's another good route as well.
Sure. Thank you, Tim, again for taking your time today.
Okay, thanks, Ronak. Yeah, pleasure.
Thank you.